Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Hold the Ball HTB. Just quickly, I just want to say thank you to the regular supporters I have who keep tuning in, tuning out. I appreciate it. Thank you. If you're new, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff there. But in saying that, I appreciate you. Before we get into the second lights turned off episode, let's hit the intro. Alright guys, well here it is, the Warriors win 12 points to 16 over a very under-pressured Tigers team with nothing to lose and everything to gain. And I suppose if you're like me, you're probably wondering, there's probably more questions than answers, and it's cliche, but the reality is it's very Warriors-like. Now, what I'm going to do is sort of give you guys my best on ground and then just straight away hammer into the talking points and then give you guys a conclusion. During that time, obviously, if you're thinking about things, please write it down in the comments. I do read your comments. I just need to reply to them. But yes, I do read your stuff. So please keep doing it. I will respond in due time, hopefully very soon. Now, my best on ground. From 3-1, I'll say Reece Walsh was. He played 80 minutes, had over 157 run meters, 2 tackle breaks, 1 line break, 7 tackles plus 3 misses, 128 kick meters, as well as 0 errors. Reece Walsh, to me, in patches there again, was probably one of the stronger forces on offense for us. Was definitely trying, you know what I mean? Like, he's always going to try. That's the thing with Reece Walsh, and that's the thing I love about him, is that he's always going to try. Whether you love him or hate him for his spontaneity, or whether you like him for his blitz, his glitz, his glamour, or maybe you don't like him because of his missed tackles, perhaps. But the thing is, he's always trying, and you can't really fault him in a game like this. Number 2 for me went to EGAN with 80 minutes played, 1 try, 95 run meters, 31 tackles plus 1 miss, as well as 0 errors. I thought, again, EGAN as well closed a lot of the attack, and I thought he played a decent game. Granted, we all know the news about him and how he doesn't want to play for New Zealand next year. That might sour a few of us, but that's the reality. I might touch on it in a later video, but the reality is, with Warriors, we do face this hurdle going back to New Zealand. It's all good and well to go back home, but that brings a whole different lot of problems, I think. My best, always as per usual, was Josh Curran with 66 minutes played, 141 run meters, 28 tackles plus 3 misses, 1 tackle break, as well as 0 errors. Again, even in a game like this that was sloppy, methodical, but not in a good way, a game where it was error-riddled, I thought he played well. I thought he was one of the standout players, actually. Kudos to Josh. Some talking points here for you guys to mull over and think about, and please feel free to comment on them. But I've brought around, 6 points here to talk about, and I'll give you my reasons for them. So the first one I want to address was errors at key moments. So the issue of the errors with the Warriors, now, it's one thing to have errors and sort of, defend your line and then sort of get the ball back and run. But with the Warriors, when we actually commit errors, a lot of the time teams score off them. Now, we saw it against the Dragons, we saw it against the Titans, and we saw it against the Tigers, evidently. Now, I'm not sure why this happens. I'm not sure why on earth this is even, this keeps happening. I don't know. But for me personally, I'm sort of not really a fan of seeing Matt Lodge try to, run with the ball and then offload it. Same goes for Adam Blake. There are patches where they do that, and it is unnecessary. That's how the drop balls happen, right? So for me, I just want to have a bit of, how do I say this? I just want our props to HTB. I just want our props to hold the ball. Just run it up the guts, because they're more effective that way. I almost feel like when the players are wanting to pass, the props, that is, are wanting to pass, or wanting to offload, they're almost in two minds. And in sport, we all know two-mindedness is just, it's critical that you're not, right? And when you are, things happen that are not good. And it's clearly evident. So for me, I just, it's not just to them as well. The entire team, like I said, errors in crucial moments. It's really hard, I think, anyway, to try and mitigate or try and sort of cut these errors, because it happens, but we do it in moments where we just shouldn't. It's actually really frustrating. And against the Tigers, Thank goodness the Tigers played as bad as we did, or else they would have won. Like, any team would have cleaned us up. You know what I mean? Now, I've got the halves here, right? So, the combination of Nikorima as well as Chanel Harris-Tavita. So, 102 run meters they ran for, 37 tackles each, as well as 3 misses together, 411 kick meters plus 4 errors together. Look, in terms of production, and again, I think this is probably the general theme, in terms of production from your halves, that ain't great. That ain't good. Like, honestly, that's not the best. And especially against a poor side like the Tigers, that is just, it speaks volumes. It speaks a lot of volumes. Granted, it's literally the third time the Warriors have had to, again, as per usual, mix their halves again. Last year was almost the same story, different halves, different weeks, and just not allowing for that combination to settle, because the reality is once Shaun Johnson gets back, he's going to be in that jumper, but then for how long again, I don't know. And that's the issue. And the issue I had with the game yesterday was, yeah, okay, in patches they were good, they led well, but overall, the production of what we need, it's just not there. And you can probably even pinpoint to some of the forwards, but I think the forwards are all right. The reality is we just need more from our halves. And I hate pointing the finger, and it's not about that. But the reality is, reflection, we need to really... We have an issue in the halves, all right? It doesn't even matter if Shaun Johnson comes back. We just have an issue, full stop, right? Warriors, oh, man, the struggle to find decent halves. And again, like I said, I wouldn't even take anything away from Shaun Johnson. It just is, right? Anyway, so we have EGAN here as well. So EGAN is a controversial player. You get players who are fans who like him and fans who don't. The ones who do sort of see him as a half player, bit of, a lot of defense, a little bit of offense, but they think that from the defensive standpoint, that's where he's critical, which is true. But then you get those in the other camp who don't like him because offensively, he doesn't bring much at all, and that's what you need. You need a hooker that goes forward. You need a hooker that's attack first, and obviously defend as well. But the main thing is you need a hooker, especially in the way that the game is now. You need a hooker that actually attacks. Now, EGAN's stats was 45 tackles plus 2 misses, 1 error, as well as 54 run meters. And obviously he had that kick as well that you probably could have scrubbed down as an error, right? But yeah, look, just crucial points again. I don't know, like, I'm always 50-50 with EGAN. Like, I like what he can produce defensively, but then on the offensive end, you just feel, just like the halves we have, there's just something missing. There's just like a key ingredient that's missing, and as per usual, it does affect the Warriors. Give me your thoughts there. Another point as well I want to address is the back four. Pompey, Montoya, Berry, and HALVES. Berry didn't have a great game. A lot of people there are probably saying he's not good enough, he's not up to standard. For me, I disagree. I want to say keep riding it because he needs to experience this. Let's not forget that last year as well, he was in the thick of it as well, right? Again, he's going to learn, but you can't really blame him because the Warriors in general are just playing poor, right? And for a newbie like him, particularly from a different, like a rugby background, that is, these things take time. Granted, again, in crucial moments, drop the ball. But, like, I'm not going to get too upset as well, right? He had some decent tackling as well. However, my attention, and just quickly on Jesse Arthurs as well, great game. I thought he played all right, yeah? Like, I think he's the center. He needs to stay as a center, and I think Berry does. That's my own personal opinion. But Arthurs, I think, is growing into that mode. He is a center. We need him. However, Pompey and Montoya, I'm just going to say, I would really swap Aratuva, for Pompey in a heartbeat. It wouldn't even be, I wouldn't think about it. I'll do it right now. Just like this. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Pompey, actually. One try doesn't really do much, not much involvement. Again, production is the key theme here. Montoya as well, bits and pieces, sure, but again, maybe it's just due to the lack of creativity from the Warriors. Maybe it's just due to the lack of go forward. I don't know, but again, Pompey, Montoya, Berry, Arthurs. It doesn't sound like an intimidating backline at all. Reece Walsh is the only one. Anyway, that leads me to Reece Walsh. The other point I want to talk about was Reece Walsh, and just regarding him as well. He's such an X factor for us. I'm actually get really annoyed that the boys can't play at his tempo. Sure, you may look at him and be upset that he does things wrong, but I mean, let's just settle, right? The kid, he's 19 years old. Let's just, pull the handbrakes. All right? He's 19 years old. He's still not necessarily learning the game, but he's still trying to fit into that role. He's trying to fit it into the Warriors context. I reckon if he was another team that was shining, he would probably go well with them. Another team, like honestly, he'll do well, I reckon, at the Eels. He wouldn't do too bad there. I would even say the Broncos, dare I even say it. But, there'll be other clubs where he would excel in. But yeah, let's just hold the brakes. He's young, he'll get there. But there are patches there again, even last night, where he showed us why he's in the team, why he's our fullback. He's relishing it, and that big, beautiful hit as well on Stafford Toa. What a beauty. I loved it. Good on you, Reece Walsh. Last point I want to talk about, probably the key one really, is the way we struggled against the Tigers is actually quite alarming. I'm not sure what sort of hat you put on, whether it's the realist hat, pessimist, or optimist, but regardless, all three camps need to be worried, right? You have a right to be worried. And if you're an optimist, you need to really please analyze this. The win was a win. Yes, it's 2 points, correct. And the Warriors are right, and the fans are as well as myself. Yes, it's a win, it's good. But the reality is, we've been down this track before. You don't need to analyze the Warriors too deeply to understand what is probably going to happen from this point on, especially this season. It's game 3, right? Round 3. And we struggled so bad against a pressured Tigers team who had nothing to lose, right? Any other team, particularly the way the Tigers were playing, would have cleaned them up already. No, I'm not trying to compare team to team. I'm just trying to compare it in the context of what it is, right? They versed the Knights the week prior and got cleaned up. You see the teams like, Rabbitohs. You see the teams like Roosters. Man, if they'd played the Tigers the way the Tigers were playing last night, they would have cleaned them up. But we were still in an arm wrestle right from the minute we kicked off to the minute that the whistle blew. And that is quite concerning. And I'm actually fed up. I'm actually quite upset. Yes, it's 2 points, but you don't walk out of there confident as a fan. You actually walk out there thinking, crap, we're in for a long season. That's the reality. And again, though there were little bits and pieces, collectively the team was poor. I mentioned it yesterday. The team was poor. There's not really much you can get out of this. There isn't. Apart from the fact that we got 2 points, yes. There's no injuries, yes. Awesome. There's a lot of room to grow, work on, absolutely. But again, we host the Broncos next week, and they play as well tomorrow, so we're going to have to wait and see how they sort of go. But the reality is there's no joy from this. The only joy is 2 points, no injuries. But it's not good signs. It isn't. I'm actually concerned, and there was a lot of that hype around us, to try and make the top 8, and I'm just wondering, are we even going to get out of the bottom 4? Touch wood, I don't think we're a wooden spoon team, but are we even going to get out of the bottom 4? And that is the most frustrating part of it all. With this, we have the Broncos next week. I don't know how to feel. The squad, I just don't. We lack some punch from the halves to the back 4. Things aren't piecing themselves to the hooking position. I think our forwards are great, brilliant. Special mention as well to Aaron Bene as well as Jazz Tavanga, who came in spades. Hopefully Katoa is better as well. I thought he played well until he got the eye injury, and for Blake as well. Bits and pieces. Wasn't the best game at all for anyone really. A few shining lights there, and Curran, Aiken and Walsh, as I've mentioned before, but ultimately another poor performance. We'll take the 2 points, but a poor performance nonetheless. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think. Again, when the lights are turned off, it's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. But in saying that, the positive, there's always next week. We'll see what happens, because hey, we turn up. It is what it is. See you guys next time, and just remember, hold the ball. Go the Warriors.